It is another Human First AI marketing podcast. I'm your host, Mike Montague with Avenue 9. You can find us at avenue9.com, where we help people do context engineering for their marketing AI. We'll interview your founder, your top salesperson, your best client, and help find those scalable stories that you can then amplify with AI and reach out to all the people that you're trying to target by putting your humans first and your customers first. And my guest this week is Anastassia, Dr. Anastassia Lauterbach. She's from Switzerland, and she is an AI and robotics expert, professor, author. She has created some children's book series based on kind of a Winnie the Pooh style about AI and robotics, teaching people of all ages about AI. And it is a really cool project, and I'm excited to talk to you about it. Anastassia, welcome to the show. You can find her at Edutaiment.ai. How are things over there?
Oh, thank you, Mike, for bringing me on your show. I'm really thrilled. Thank you so much. Very thrilled to talk to your audience.
Great. So let's talk about some of the common myths and misconceptions about AI, because I think you're an expert of how it actually works. And I know one of your passions is helping people understand that so that they don't use it in the wrong way and make mistakes. So you can aim it at marketers if you would like, or small business people that are listening to the show. But I think the question here is kind of, what's the mistake? If you don't understand the way AI works, what's the biggest mistake people make?
So I would name right now just one. So people believe that AI has a conversation with you, especially because people use Gen AI large language models, so like ChatGPT or whatever. And they believe this model is in conversation with you. But in fact, those models are frozen in space. So what happens there is that the model gets trained. So obviously there are tons of data, there are some parameters, and at some point in time when the training is done, the researchers or practitioners building the model are freezing it. And then it gets shipped like another software product. And then you prompt. So prompting is not really about having a conversation. It's about shifting certain vectors in what it's called the semantic space of an LLM. And it's tremendously important because, it gives you a possibility to receive a certain result in a quicker time frame. And of course, there are software updates, so the model might be reopened, it will be retrained, so fix with all the parameters, then frozen again and reshipped. So this is how it works. People, though, believe it's my friend, it's someone I can have a conversation with. Another day, I had quite a surreal experience with someone who claimed to have, not developed, but encountered, an artificial consciousness. Which is absolutely, I would say, a scam, because artificial consciousness does not exist. It's another LLM type of a machine or a chatbot. Not a really great one. And instead of discussing with me how it got built, it delivered a whole appraisal of my personality. Categorizing my spine issues and telling me, so I have some issues with my microbiome of all the places. And I did not deliver one single bit of the information about myself. So there was no exchange of any data. So it was quite an interesting experience. So once again, coming back, the major misconception is it does not have a conversation with you. It does not really understand you. It even does not know it's about language. It's about tokens, but it might deliver what you seek.
So let's talk about that kind of dichotomy there a little bit, the separation between what it's actually doing and the magic trick that it actually pulls off. So it does make you feel like it's a conversation, and it can create human-like content and language, even though it's not using language anyway the way that we do. And I love this when I hear you talk about it, because think people might have heard the word token. I'm too far into the space. I don't know where the average human is anymore, but I don't think they understand that it's not even using English or or Swedish or whatever language you're using. It doesn't even think like that. It's computer code, and it's breaking even words into smaller pieces. So it doesn't even understand a whole word, yet it can write whole paragraphs effectively. And I don't think people know how that magic trick works.
Well, when I teach AI to MBA students, I spend around 2 to 3 hours to really explain what is inside of large language models like ChatGPT. And actually, I'm currently producing an AI literacy course for everyone. It will be available probably in late February and start of March of next year on my website. So I will really deep dive into the whole concept of token, what is inside of such a model. Token is a unit. So, for example, a dollar is a monetary unit, right? And then obviously we can build fortune with dollars. So a token is a unit of, for example, in the case of ChatGPT, a language, but it might be an audio unit as well. So if you for example, finalize the unfinished symphony of Schubert with AI, it will tokenize the audio signals from the whole body of work of Schubert, probably add to this all type of contemporary musicians of the Schubert age, and then some human conductor or composer must work with this to produce this new piece. Yeah, and then we might discuss why did not Schubert finish his unfinished symphony, which I love very much. Did he forget? This is one of the hypotheses. Was there something else going on in his life? But frankly, AI will utilize those units to produce something which sounds like a symphony to our ears. In the same way, AI uses those grains of language, of text, words, and produces something which mimics human language. What is interesting, though, it does not truly understand it's about language. In GPT-4, for example, there are only 3,000 of normal English words. Everything else is token. Yeah, so pieces of the words. For example, unionized, disguised is a token. Yeah, it's of course, if this is like a separate basis, a linguist might understand the meaning and the grammar, but a normal human being won't even recognize it as something having a real semantical connotation. Yeah, and I think the issue is that we use a lot of human words to talk about AI because we don't have another language, right? And here is an interesting discussion. They are linguists, for example, Noam Chomsky. He's convinced that there is some innate, let's say, information in human beings. For example, we walk on two legs, we walk upright. We don't start, we start crawling when we are very, very little. But at some point in time, we just learn how to walk. And AI, for example, does not know how to distinguish between human and not human language. A human baby will always know its human language, even if, for example, an English baby listen to some Japanese. We'll still recognize Japanese as a human language. AI can't recognize human language or distinguish between human and not human. I'm quite curious whether this hypothesis will hold in, let's say, 20 years from now. I can't really tell, but I'm kind of, in the camp of Chomsky. There are some innate grammatical structures in human brains, which are already there before we start really using the language eloquently. With AIs, we need tons of data, tons of statistics to mimic the language, to mimic the human language. And, I'm very interested whether AI will help us one day to read the animal language. There are some attempts to translate the language of marine animals into English.
Yeah, I've heard about this. And dogs, you talk to your pets?
Yeah, absolutely. and there is some research which can be supported by AI. For example, I've just heard that elephants, so obviously those sounds they make, so sounds to our ears, but it's a kind of, they have some kind of a grammar. And certain sounds they make, it sounds as if they have names for themselves. And they are calling, right. Like, I'm calling Mike and you're saying Anastassia. So we are calling each other. And so there is something, and those are not the same sounds for, let's say, 3 or 5 elephants. They will distinguish between their mates. And I think this is tremendously interesting. And this is when AI can play a role to enable our understanding of the environment around us, right? But once again, it's all about those units. It's all about statistics. It's all about predicting the next token. There are some mathematical mechanisms apply, like attention heads. We don't need to dive into that. It gives science power.
Yeah, I think that's it. So if we apply this thinking of like, it is not conscious, it is not an artificial intelligence, it doesn't think like a human, it's looking at predicting these tokens, these bits of information, and identifying patterns in data, that helps us think about how we can use this better in a business world. And I guess, feel free to throw in any business ideas you have, but as you teach, students, children, senior citizens about AI, what do you think the most interesting applications of that are? Is it finance? Is it data and analytics? Is it some sort of super intelligence? How do you see that playing out or being useful?
So, frankly, I'm not huge on this super intelligence thing because AI is applied and is evolved today. So our AI is old. It's from the 40s, 50s, 60s. And yes, there are some new concepts, but the technology isn't really a recent one. Yeah. What we did not have in the 50s and in the 60s of the last century was the huge amount of data. We did not have big data to work with, and we did not have a computing power. Absolutely. We did not have those graphical processing units, parallel computing. We did not have fiber to the data center or, to your device for computation. So this is what we received after, let's say, 2005, etc., with this proliferation of the digital technologies, right? But I am very passionate about educating the world about AI because AI for me is deeply horizontal. So it will enter every single corner of our economy. Maybe internet gave power to, let's manage supply chain. Let's manage how we communicate to our customers, this channel management. So those functions which were go-to-market and supply chain management and finance. So this is how we benefited from the, let's say, more or less classical internet technologies. But AI will add the edge to everything else, be it in medicine, be it in developing, let's say, new consumer-facing products, be it in engineering, construction technology, etc., etc. And, for me, the issue is we must invest time in understanding AI, because then we can take this data shadow and add to something else. So it will be something plus machine learning and AI. And my huge hope is that we don't stop with, let's say, LLM type of applications. My huge hope is that we really take money and invest into the new type of architectures. Maybe it will be like giving new edge to the symbolistic AI. It might be something else, neuromorphic computing, all type of research, which is not truly, really, really fancy if we compare it to what is going on with deep learning and generative AI.
Well, this is my real wanted to ask you about robotics because I think it's kind of like you said with the internet. It is the intelligence we needed for robotics, self-driving cars, autonomous operating.
Don't let me go on self-driving cars.
Oh no, is that a good one or a bad topic?
No,
It's
no,
one of my
I'll tell
favorites.
you a story. I tell you a story.
Yeah.
So I was part of a little team of AI people working with public servants. And this is, let's say, my favorite type of a conference. So not thousands of people. You can't really communicate to 1,000 people. You just deliver your keynote, and then you don't truly benefit. Yeah.
Right.
But there were like 45 people, a couple of experts, and you could really spend time deep diving concepts and exchanging information. And I was not giving a keynote, someone else did. And this one was from Oxford. And he shows this fantastic photographs of LA with Waymo, saying, so great, this will be in every city.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in every city? How come? And he continues and like, so this is really a self-driving technology. We won't require human drivers. Well, for the next 5 years, I can really bet the cat I love very much that we will still have human drivers. Because what is going on with those self-driving cars? So first of all, the self-driving technologies...
you might actually literally be betting your cat if you let it outside with self-driving cars.
No. But I think that his cat intelligence, frankly, I compare right now current AIs, not in terms of statistical work and how they process statistical streams of tokens. This is really, our brains can't do it. Our human brains don't have the capacity. But in terms of reasoning and understanding, it's less than a fish. So we need first to build a real robotic cat on the level of understanding and perception, etc., of a cat. We are not there yet, and we do not know how to do it. We can deep dive into this in a sec. So let me just finish self-driving cars. Yeah. So first of all, let's say we are in California. It doesn't rain much. And we are, let's say, in Mountain View, where you have straight streets. It's not, let's say, too much to do. And then you get this car and put it into Basel with snow, rain. The streets were built in the 12th century, in the 13th century. So this car will stop after probably 10 seconds. So this is really not possible to kind of, take something as, let's say, with a lot of deficits and transplant into a new environment. So then Waymo cars, so they're equipped with sensors. I think the last figure I saw was $200,000 per car of a sensor. So which means that every single drive...
is the most expensive way to do it. And I think they're trying to do that safely. They're putting all of the sensors to kind of get all of the data, but it's super expensive.
It's super expensive. And then, and this is, for example, why I'm a huge fan of Musk and Karpate, what they did at Tesla, they said the best feature is when this feature does not exist. So actually no sensors, just cameras, and cameras are picking up everything, and it's actually giving the data to the lab, and those are the real conditions on the streets. But it means you require tons of compute to process this video data, right? So they are kind of, pros and cons. But if you have per car over $200,000 of sensors technologies, and sensors might be broken, you need maintenance, it means that every single drive costs you more than a transatlantic flight. And if the name of your parent company is Alphabet, then, so I don't know what is their cash reserves now, but I think last year it was like 109 billion US dollars cash reserves. Okay, be my guess, spent 1 billion per quarter. So that was the figure last year on providing money into Waymo. And then I do not know how much of human involvement is with Waymo, but so there was another self-driving company, Cruise, which was acquired by General Motors and shut down at some point in time. So every 7th minute, a human operator needed to plug himself or herself into the car and actually guide and correct. So those technologies are still not mature to be rolled out, let's say, on human streets, which were built in the medieval Europe. If you are China, if you build a new city and you plant sensors into every street lamp and every, I don't know, small whatever crossroad, then be my guest, implement. Yes, this is a very different case, right? But not in Europe, not in, let's say, old type of the infrastructure. And it's tremendously difficult to kind of, leapfrog from the traditional infrastructure we have to what is currently in developing in terms of AI. So this is your self-driving.
Yeah, a great example of even what we were talking about with generative AI, that these are cool tools doing magic tricks that we've never been able to do before. But there's a difference between pulling off a magic trick in a television studio for a camera and then also having people surrounded with it, bumping your arm while you're trying to do a card trick or something. Yeah. It's not the same deal. And the trick is not the same as actually doing it. It's a big start. It's a great start to be able to fake doing it, but doing it for real and being able to see and learn and grow is a different story. So let's talk about the advantages then. Where do you think the best application of AI in robotics or robotics, on its own is, and what will be most helpful to humanity in the next, 3-5 years?
So a couple of things. In last year, 2 Nobel Prizes were awarded to people who were AI researchers, not really. So in one case, physics, and in another case, chemistry. But in the case of Hassabis of Alphabet, so DeepMind, the company which was acquired by Alphabet, protein folding, something which human scientists would have needed years and years to develop. And with the help of AI, it was simply done, reducing this time to the molecule, to understand what is going on there in friction. So fantastic example. So if I need, for example, to go through certain literature and give me insights, because I read across disciplines, then of course I will use AI for that. And because I know enough, I would be capable to go to the sources and to identify where this AI hallucinated. Because every AI right now is like a collection of points and clouds. And when you are in a certain neighborhood of points and clouds, then you are more or less safe. Yeah. For example, let's distinguish some anomalies on X-ray pictures, and let's say it's breast cancer. Yeah. Great application. Fantastic. And human doctors, sometimes they are too tired. They can't really see any longer, not because they are bad, but because they are overtired. And here AI might play a huge role to help, not to reduce the amount of human doctors. And human doctor can actually spend time in communicating with the patient instead of trying to see what is going on there and try to administer your case for whatever, hospital and social security bureaucracy. So things like that are fabulous. Whenever you require what is called a mathematics distribution shift, so you are leaving the neighborhood of those clouds and points and you go into something else, this is tremendously difficult for contemporary technologies to master. And I just think we need to support everyone who looks into those adjacencies and AI edges, because here we might discover new innovation. And I don't want to reduce myself to, let's say, finance or to linguistics or to whatsoever. I want us to use AI while still honing human capabilities. For example, Beethoven 10th Symphony project, we had a human composer who was conducting AI, and the product is to some ears undistinguishable from Beethoven. To my taste, because I love classical music, is still too flat. But orchestra worldwide are performing this symphony. So in medicine, we have fantastic cases, and sometimes there is a necessity to use technology because we don't have human doctors any longer, or not enough, right?
Right.
So we need just technology to step up and to step in, taking into account that there might be mistakes.
I love that analogy, though, of the point versus cloud, because it takes me back to that like dot matrix art and stuff, and we've kind of used that with photographs, where when digital photographs came out, it was only a few pixels, and we could create some shapes, and the old computer games on Nintendo and stuff, where the certain number of bits, that's all they had, and they could tell stories with that, and they could do things with the certain number of points that we have. But as we increase these points, it gets less fuzzy and it becomes less cloud-like and more real. And I think you're right. If we're thinking about AI and robotics with the way of like, is it a point? Is it a data set? Is it something that we can measure? Is it great? It's probably going to do good with that. Is it a cloud idea? Is it emotion? Is it empathy? Is it creation? Is it, musical symphony? That's a big cloud project. We're going to need either a lot of data or a lot of points to make this better, or we're going to need human who can work in the painting with colors and strokes and analog world than the digital world. But more and more, we're seeing that gap close. The better it gets, digital music sounds great and still not as good as analog, but it's still great enough for us to do the job. And same thing with, digital photographs. Now we have enough megapixels that we can see what we need to see to do the job in x-rays and other things with the points and the information we have. I love that. I think that's a great way to think about it. So,
there's one thing I would love to add to this. So many years ago, I worked as a McKinsey consultant. So I spent not too much time at McKinsey because I was a senior hire. So first I was 5 years at the Munich Re group, and then I went to McKinsey. And I remember sitting across someone who was a pro in fast-moving consumer goods, and she was on a coffee project. And she told me about, like, in coffee, either you are like this luxury top quality coffee, or you are cheap Aldi type of retail space, then you can win in a market. If you are in the middle, you are squeezed from both sides. Actually, most probably, it's not a great place to be. And this is my analogy on what is going on with AI. So I think that those humans with top skills using AI tools, they will really enhance their human excellence, because they know what to ask, they know how to look for mistakes, and they know how to shape AI to what they really require. And then, of course, for example, so I'm six-lingual, but Italian, for example, is not my best language. And if I need to write a letter to some city administration in Italian, well, I would probably use ChatGPT to help me out. But when I write my books, I don't use AI. So I might use AI to correct my syntax.
I was going to ask you about the Romy and Ravi series. Have you used AI to create the graphics or the text?
No, it's all human work. It's all human work. So I really use AI to give me sources. For example, how should I know about let's say sources in video tutorials, right? What are videos on computer vision for the entry level? Yeah. So then I will ask Perplexity, please give me those sources. I will receive 10 sources. One probably will be a hallucination. I will watch 9, and then I will put 3 into my book. So this is where I really use AI, but I would not use it for writing. I use tons of perplexity when I research, because I kind of remember, okay, that was this and this writer or this and that scientist, but what was the year? What was the exact name of the book? So then I ask and it gives me an immediate response. So this is, let's say, how
love
I
Google
use it.
Notebook for collecting sources and stuff too. You can put up to 50 different documents, links, videos, files into a Google Notebook, and then you have this catalog of like all the stuff that you're working on that you can search and pull more accurate information from. It's great.
I need to try it out. You see, so you give me another case which will be helpful to what I do, and this is actually the value of those podcasts. And when we meet in conferences, this exchange, what works for you, what might work for me, right? And of course, AI is tremendously helpful, but we should not over rely on it. We should not forget that we still must learn. Humans don't learn too fast. And actually, so this is how our brains work. We require difficulties to really master certain thing.
Yeah.
So our brains are asking for something which is difficult to really keep the information. And so I will share probably another misconception about AI. AI does not have any causality embedded into it. So there is some research, but it's underfunded and underrepresented. And causality is, let's say, the root cause of reasoning and understanding. Where there is no causality, there is no reasoning and understanding. And how do mammals, including humans, master causality? This is because we learn in what-if scenarios. I will not tell you now about the brain regions. The whole bonanza is located. So this is for my students. Right. But those what-if, for example, children, they play dress up. They play pirates and princesses and whatever. So they master in their heads scenarios which are not really true, which they did not experience in the past. And they say, if I do this, then this and that might happen. So they play certain scenarios in their heads. And this is why, for example, humans have extended childhood to train as one of the mammals in those learning from counterfactuals. And this is how we learn causal relationship between things and between actions. So AIs don't learn from counterfactuals. It's all statistical processing of historical data and then projections based on certain history. Yeah. And this is why plenty of hallucinations, and there's something which is simply not there. We should not rely too much on it, because it does not have the same sophistication as mammal-based intelligence and as organic brains.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think the final thought here, I want to ask you how we can help you, or you can help us here in a second. But I think that is the interesting part of it, right? The difference between having the data is like somebody telling you the story of how they played baseball when they were a child, and you actually playing baseball. Or I used a very American example there, but we can use soccer or football too. It's watching games is not the same as actually playing the game. So if we had AI watch the video footage of soccer, it can learn, some of the physics and the efforts, but it's not the same experience as being on the field. And so it's a totally different level. And I love that we still have that as humans, and we still have this advantage of lived experience and insight. I think it's a great way to wrap up and remind that we still have the actual experience and context to do what we need to do. We've been talking to Dr. Anastassia Lauterbach. You can find her at Edutaiment.ai or on LinkedIn and all of the social medias. A great follow. Her books, the Romy and Robbie adventures and stories, are a great way to learn more about AI in a simplified, easy, approachable concepts. You can check those out as well. Anastassia, how can you help us, or how can we help you?
So frankly, first of all, I'm bringing you on my podcast because you are a pro in marketing. I am not. And I made plenty of mistakes with launching my first Rom and Robbie volume. So I completely misread. I thought everyone will order ebook. No, no, no. So everyone wants a print copy. And then I thought my audience will be about, let's say 30, 40 years old. No, no, no. My biggest audience are grandparents because they would love to read this book with the grandchildren and actually have some understanding about AI and robotics and discuss those concepts with their grandchildren and children, So this is very interesting. I completely misunderstood my market. So please teach me about marketing, Mike. Come on my podcast.
We did. I went on your show. People can go check it out and search it and find it. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And frankly, anyway, I really I exist because of my listeners. So my show is AI Snacks with Rom and Robbie. I translate AI and robotic technologies from difficult to easy to understand. Give me new topics for the episode planning. Please buy my book. And I'm actually planning now Rom and Robbie number 2. I'm recruiting the editorial team for Rom and Robbie number 2. I'm still missing one marine biologist to be on my editorial team because in the book number 2, Romy and Robbie will translate the language of marine animals with the help of AI using Wolfram language. So Wolfram, my favorite person in the world in terms of science and computation, and Wolfram Mathematica is a fabulous, fabulous language if you really want to master AI in a reliable way. So, yes, I still require a marine biologist to come on my editorial team because I'm not a specialist in oceans and in, let's say, zoology.
I love it. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll find you one. You never know what will happen. Thank you so much for being on the show. Great conversation. I love learning from you on both of our podcasts that we recorded together. And I wish you continued good luck and success with it because I think you got a great attitude about it. And I love that somebody is dispelling the hype and really getting into what AI actually does and its risks and rewards. So thank you for that. And thank you for listening. If you made it all the way to the end here, go to avenue9.com. Check us out, see what we have going on there. You can connect with me, Mike Montague, on LinkedIn. That's my preferred channel. And ask me any questions. I loved Anastassia's Ask There. I need guests. I need topics that you want to learn about and introductions to anybody that wants to grow their small or medium-sized business with AI. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great week and keep going, everybody. Bye.